In the summer of 1881, a struggling painter fell in love with his own cousin. She had just lost her husband. She had an 8-year-old son, and she told him no in the clearest way a person can. Let me tell you what he did with that no. His name was Vincent van Gogh, 28 years old, still years away from painting anything the world would remember. Key Voss came to stay with his family that summer, still grieving. Vincent spent weeks with her, walking, talking, convincing himself something mutual was forming between them. It wasn't. When he finally confessed his feelings, Key's answer was immediate. Her exact words in Dutch were, "Nooit, nein, nimmer." No, nay, never. Most people hear a no like that and eventually accept it. Vincent wrote to his brother Theo instead, and said something that should have worried everyone around him. Her "no, never, never" was not strong enough to make me give her up. He believed her rejection was, in his own words, a piece of ice that would melt. So he pursued her anyway. Letters she wouldn't read. A trip to Amsterdam she didn't want. Here's the moment that should genuinely disturb you. When her family refused to let him see her, Vincent held his hand directly over an open flame and said, "Let me see her for as long as I can keep my hand in the flame." They blew the lamp out. He never got to keep his hand there long enough to matter. Key never changed her answer. But this wasn't really about Key anymore. This was the first time the people who loved Vincent van Gogh watched him do something to his own body because his mind wouldn't let a feeling go. It would not be the last. Part 2. Vincent van Gogh painted almost 900 paintings in his lifetime. He sold, by most accounts, only one. So how did he survive? Let me tell you who kept him alive. His younger brother Theo was an art dealer in Paris, and for nearly Vincent's entire adult life, Theo paid for almost everything. Food, rent, paint, canvas, even his hospital bills. Theo wasn't wealthy himself. He supported Vincent anyway, for years, without ever really being asked twice. Here's what made their bond so unusual. The brothers exchanged hundreds of letters, and in them, Vincent didn't just ask for money. He shared theories on color, sketches, his actual soul, page after page. Theo kept every single one. In 1888, Vincent moved to Arles, dreaming of building an artists' colony, a community of painters living and creating together. He convinced himself one particular artist had to be its leader, Paul Gauguin. Theo, once again, made it happen. He promised Gauguin money every month just to convince him to come live with Vincent. Here's the part that should worry you already. Vincent didn't just want a roommate. He wanted validation, companionship, someone to finally understand him the way Theo did, but in person. Gauguin arrived in October. Within 2 months, that dream would end in blood. Part 3. By December 1888, the Yellow House in Arles had become unbearable. Vincent van Gogh and Paul Gauguin, two brilliant, difficult men, crammed into one small space for weeks. Here's how badly it had deteriorated. Gauguin later wrote that Vincent had started standing silently over his bed at night while he slept. Imagine waking up to that. The two argued constantly, about art, about money, about everything. On the evening of December 23rd, something finally broke. Accounts differ on exactly what happened, but by the end of that night, Gauguin had decided he was leaving for Paris, and Vincent had cut off part of his own left ear. He wrapped it and reportedly delivered it to a woman at a local brothel. He was found the next morning, nearly dead from blood loss. Here's what almost nobody focuses on. Gauguin left Arles the following day, and the two men never saw each other again in person. The citizens of Arles, already exhausted by Vincent's erratic behavior, signed a petition demanding he be sent away. The artist colony he dreamed of building had ended with him institutionalized, humiliated, and utterly alone. Theo came, as he always did, but even Theo couldn't fix what was actually happening inside his brother's mind. Part 4. After the ear incident, Vincent van Gogh committed himself to an asylum in Saint-Rémy. You'd expect that to be the end of his art. It wasn't even close. Here's what almost defies belief. Inside that asylum, diagnosed, medicated, and deeply unwell, Vincent painted some of the most famous artwork in human history. Starry Night was painted from his asylum window. A view of the sky he wasn't even free to walk under. But his mind kept unraveling, regardless of how much he created. Theo got married, had a son, named the boy Vincent after his brother. You'd think that would have brought him joy. Instead, it deepened a fear that had been growing for years, that he had become a permanent burden, a weight Theo would carry for the rest of his life. On July 27, 1890, Vincent van Gogh walked into a field and shot himself in the chest. He didn't die instantly. He walked back to his lodging and died 2 days later, with Theo at his side. His final words reportedly were, "The sadness will last forever." Here's the part that still breaks people. Theo was so devastated, he became seriously ill almost immediately after. He died just 6 months later. Two brothers, inseparable, in letters, in money, in love, gone within half a year of each other. Part 5. Vincent van Gogh didn't die from a gunshot wound. Not really. He died believing he was a burden to the one person who never once treated him like one. Here's what that actually means. Theo loved Vincent unconditionally, paid for his life, for decades, without resentment. But somewhere along the way, Vincent stopped being able to receive that. He could paint feeling. He could paint light no one else could see. But he couldn't quite believe he deserved to be loved without earning it first. Here's the twist that should sit with you. In his entire lifetime, Vincent sold almost nothing, was mocked, dismissed, institutionalized. He never got to know that one day his paintings would sell for millions, that Starry Night would hang in museums visited by millions of people every single year. He died certain he was a failure. The world just hadn't caught up to him yet. Here's why this still matters today. Vincent had real, unconditional love in his life. Theo proved that, letter after letter, frank after frank. And it still wasn't enough to save him. Because depression doesn't ask if you're loved. It asks if you believe you deserve to be. Those are not the same question. Here's the part most people miss. Vincent van Gogh wasn't unloved. He was loved by someone who never got the chance to convince him it was true. If you're waiting to feel worthy before you accept the love already in front of you, his story is begging you not to wait as long as he did.